Sometimes we're great at cheering for others, but not so great at doing it for ourselves. You ever notice that? We give everyone else the best pep talks, but when it comes to ourselves, we're hesitant. Maybe even down on ourselves. Why is that? Welcome back to the Shattered Mindset podcast, where we explore the pivotal moments that redefine our thinking and set us on new paths. I'm your host, Melvin Larry, and today we're diving into a topic that's both personal and universal: how to weave your life into your legacy. See, legacy isn't something that happens when we're gone. It's being built every day through the lessons we live, the experiences we share, and the impact we leave on others. So let's unpack how mindset, life lessons, and our environment shape the legacy we leave behind. And this episode will explore not just personal growth, but also how we communicate with the world around us to build that lasting impact. Let me take a moment to just go back. When I was younger, I was quiet, shy even. A lot of that came from being cautious, taking my time to observe and think before I spoke. I was trying to grow in self-image when I learned what self-esteem and all of that was all about. But and also growing up in a family where I learned to be a listener first really shaped how I interacted with the world. I didn't always feel like I had a voice, but that changed over time. Stepping into fatherhood was a turning point for me. Becoming a father to my kids made me their biggest cheerleader. And being in that role has changed the way I approach life. It's funny how supporting others, especially your own children, makes you look at yourself differently. As a dad, I had to set an example, and part of that was learning to open up more, to be vocal, and to show them how to believe in themselves. I'll never forget the day I told my son, believe in God, believe in yourself. Everything else is going to follow. All right. So, and that wasn't just something I said because it sounded nice. It was something I lived. You see, no one can believe in you more than you believe in yourself. That's where it starts. I think back in the times when I doubted myself, whether it was stepping into senior management in a corporate role, entrepreneurship, or launching this podcast, I learned to realize the power of belief in myself and in my ability to get things done. But here's the thing: sometimes we're great at cheering for others, but not so great at doing it for ourselves. You ever notice that? We give everyone else the best pep talks, but when it comes to ourselves, we're hesitant. Maybe even down on ourselves. Why is that? Well, it's something I had to reflect on and to overcome. So take a moment and think about it. When was the last time you were truly your own biggest cheerleader? Have you lifted yourself up with the same energy that you give others? I learned that part of building my legacy wasn't just about cheering for my kids or the people around me. It was also about cheering for myself, giving myself that boost to keep going when times were tough. The fact is, legacy doesn't just happen when we leave this world, it's being built every single day in how we treat ourselves and how we treat others. Another key part of this journey has been learning how to communicate with intention. I describe it as listening without defense and speaking without offense. Let me say that again: listening without defense and speaking without offense. Well, it's simple, but it's powerful. You see, communication is one of the most critical skills we can develop, not just in our personal lives, but in business, in leadership, and in every relationship. Yet it's so easy to get it wrong. I've been in this situation where a conversation could have escalated into a conflict, but I also learned that when you take a step back and really listen without jumping to defend yourself all the time, things go differently. The moment you stop trying to be right and focus on understanding, you create space for real dialogue. It's not always easy, for sure, but it's worth it. It's important to remember that the way we communicate is deeply influenced by our upbringing, our environment, and the people we surround ourselves with. Growing up, I didn't always have models of great communication. I had models, but not always of great communication. Sometimes conversations were avoided because they were uncomfortable. But I realized over time that the more you avoid those tough conversations, the more you miss out on growth. Here's a personal story. I had a conversation with a close colleague not too long ago. We were discussing a project and things started to get a little heated. I could feel myself wanting to jump in, defend my point, and tell them why I was right. Okay, I felt I was. But instead, I paused, I thought about where they were coming from, what might be influencing their perspective. By simply listening without feeling the need to defend myself, the whole conversation shifted. What could have been a confrontational turn? I mean, listen, it really could have been, but it turned into a productive open dialogue where both of us left with more understanding. Think about the last difficult conversation you had. How'd you approach it? Did you listen fully? Or were you prepared for your defense while the other person was still talking, ready to jump in? Sometimes even over talking the other person just to get your point across. All right. And not really listening. What if you approached it differently next time? Who who in your life could benefit from more mindful communication from you? Try practicing. Listen to someone with and make it a point. Be intentional about listening without defense in your next conversation and see how it transforms the dialogue. It may be difficult, but it'll so be worth it. In a world where everyone is quick to react, learning to slow down, listen, and respond with care is a game changer. That's a lesson I want to pass on even to my kids and grandchildren and to anyone listening, those of you right here, because that's part of the legacy I want to leave behind, to be able to say that he was a great listener. Wow, that would be so huge. Now, let's shift gears and talk about something we all experience, but rarely talk about, and that's covert sabotage. Never heard of that, right? Covert sabotage. This is one of those things that can sneak up on you. You have the big goals, dreams, and aspirations, but something is stopping you from moving forward. And it's often subtle, a little bit of procrastination here, a bit of self doubt there, but over time, it adds up. For a long time, I didn't even recognize when I was sabotaging myself. I had dreams of doing big things, whether it was stepping into a senior leadership position or management role, or years later, even starting this podcast or whatever. But I kept delaying it. I told myself I was waiting for the right moment. But deep down, I knew that wasn't the truth. Okay. The real issue, uncertainty. Will I fail at this? Can I succeed? Do I have enough to say, or do I know how to say it right? Look, I made all kind of excuses about different things, everything but getting started. All right. I didn't make enough excuses at first about how to get started with things. And I learned to make the decision to do it, even if I had to do it messy. Okay. Just get it done. And so when I made the decision to do it and just get it done, things changed for me. Things moved differently for me. I was in a different place. I was in a different feeling. I was excited about how things were going to move and moving for me in the right way. So I'm excited about that. It wasn't until I sat down and asked myself, what's really holding me back. Really, that I realized how important it was to face those uncertainties head on. But more than that, I had to get clear on my way, or really on my why, that is. Why do I want to do this? Why is this goal important to me? Once I had that clarity, it was like a weight lifted off my shoulders. Okay. Ask yourself, what's really holding me back? What fears, doubts, or old habits are sabotaging your progress? Take a moment and get clear on your why. It'll help you move forward with greater clarity and purpose. There's a concept I like to call persistent consistence, or sometimes persistent consistency. It's the idea that success doesn't come from doing something once, it comes from showing up day after day until the thing you're working on becomes part of you, whether it's in your business, personal development, or relationships. The more consistent you are, the more likely you are to see growth. Think about the great athletes, the musicians, or business leaders. What sets them apart? It's really not the talent always, it's persistence. How many talented people do you know? I mean, listen, I can think about guys who were wizards on the basketball court, but they weren't persistent with what they did. So it's just the ability to keep going, even when things get tough. I've seen this play out in my own life, especially early in my career. When I was starting out in leadership, I wasn't the most confident person in the room, but I showed up. I made mistakes, learned from them. I kept going. Over time, that persistence turned into confidence. Where in your life do you need to show up consistently? Pick one area of your life where you'd like to grow and start practicing daily, whether it's a personal goal, a relationship, or a career aspiration. Remember that persistence is what builds mastery. Success isn't a single event, it's the culmination of daily, consistent effort. Finally, let's talk about something that's close to my heart: helping others see greatness within themselves. One of the greatest joys in life is seeing someone else succeed and knowing that you played a small part in that. I've always believed that we find our greatness by helping others see greatness in themselves. And when you do that, you create a ripple effect that extends far beyond what you can see. I had a conversation recently with a young entrepreneur who was feeling stuck. They weren't sure if they had what it took to keep going in their business. I told them, your ability to achieve more and be more is infinite. Sometimes that's all people need: someone to remind them of their potential. Think about someone in your life right now who might need that reminder. How can you show up for them? Help them, help them see the greatness within themselves. It doesn't have to be a grand gesture. Sometimes it's as simple as offering a word of encouragement, because people hear negative all the time and all day long. But sometimes it's just a word of encouragement that a person needs. When you help someone else grow, you grow too. That's the beauty of it. It's the kind of a legacy I want to leave behind, a legacy of lifting others up. Okay. And so this episode is all about weaving your life into your legacy. And that's a thing that I said that I wanted for myself to, I wanted to build a life and I wanted to build a legacy, but I wanted to weave my life into my legacy and let my life become my legacy, but I wasn't sure that the life I was living was something that I thought could really contribute to my legacy in the way that I want it to be. It's about persistence, communication, helping others grow, growing yourself. Legacy isn't something you wait to build, it's happening right now in the everyday actions and conversations and lessons we choose to live by. So As you move through your week, reflect on how you can cheer for yourself, how you can communicate with intention, and how you can inspire greatness in the people around you. All right. I just want you to think about those things and to look not just today at yesterday, what you did, but today I want you to look at what you do because today matters for you and today matters for tomorrow. And so I want you to think about what impact your actions have on other people because your actions, your words impact other people in different ways. And sometimes, many times, they can have a lasting impact. I sat down with a young lady recently who said, one of the things about it, sitting down with you, I know that it's a safe place because you're consistently the same person. You know, maybe some people think, well, that's a boring place to be, consistently the same person. Okay. But you want to be consistently dependable. All right. You want to be persistently consistent at being consistently dependable. All right. So that's a memory that I feel good about leaving behind. Anyway, look, thanks for just tuning in. And I'm excited to continue the journey with you here. Look, so until the next time, keep evolving, keep adjusting, keep reaching for those higher horizons. I'll see you the next time on the Shattered Mindset podcast. Take care. Take charge. God bless.